You step into the street and immediately someone shoves past you. Not aggressively, just efficiently. There's no space to be polite. A cart is coming through even though carts aren't supposed to be here during the day, and everyone presses against the walls to let it pass. The wheels are wooden. The sound they make on stone is so loud you feel it in your chest. Someone's throwing water from a window above. Or you hope it's water. You dodge left. A woman carrying a basket of bread nearly collides with you, doesn't apologize, keeps moving. The street smells like fish sauce and smoke and sweat and baking bread and human waste and perfume, all at once, all the time. This is just a regular Tuesday morning. You're in Rome. A million people crammed into a space where you can walk from one end to the other in maybe 2 hours if the crowds let you, which they won't. And the thing nobody tells you about ancient Rome, the thing that doesn't come across in paintings or history books, is that it's loud. Constantly. Overwhelmingly. The kind of loud that makes you understand why everyone talks about the countryside like it's paradise. Walking through Rome isn't like visiting a monument. It's like being inside a machine that's running at full capacity all the time, and you're just one more piece of moving parts. You're in the Subura right now. Not the worst neighborhood in Rome, but not where anyone writes poems about. If the city has a working-class heart, it's here. 5- and 6-story apartment buildings, insulae, lean against each other like they're conspiring. The ground floors are shops, a tavern, a bakery, a place selling garum that you can smell from 30 feet away. The buildings are mostly brick and wood. The wood worries you once you think about it. Open flames, narrow streets, no fire escapes, but nobody else seems concerned, so you keep walking. The street is maybe 12 feet wide. When 2 carts try to pass each other, again, illegally, because the law says carts can't come through until after sunset, everything stops. People start yelling. Not angry yelling, just transactional yelling. Negotiations conducted at full volume because that's the only way to be heard. You notice the gutters running down the center of the street. Sometimes there's water in them from the fountains overflowing. Sometimes there's other stuff. You learn to watch where you step. The Romans built some of the most advanced infrastructure in human history, but at street level, it's still a city of 1 million people living on top of each other, and some things are just inevitable. A kid runs past you, barefoot, chasing another kid. A dog is barking from inside one of the ground floor shops. Someone's singing, badly, from an upper window. It's not even 8 in the morning yet. You turn onto a wider street, the Via Tusculana maybe, or one of the others that radiates out from the Forum. Immediately it's different, more space, more air. The buildings here are lower, better maintained. You see a private house, a domus with a door that's actually decorated. Most people in Rome don't live in houses. They live in rented rooms stacked on top of each other. But if you have money, you live here behind walls with a courtyard no one else can see. The contrast is sharp. In the Subura, you're anonymous, compressed, part of the crowd. Here, you're visible, people notice you. A slave is sweeping the steps of a domus. He doesn't look up. Further down, 2 men in togas are talking, official business probably. One of them has a client following him, a step behind, listening carefully. You can tell who has power by how much space they take up. But even here, the street isn't quiet. You hear the distant sound of hammering, construction, always construction. Something S always being rebuilt, repaired, added onto. Rome grows vertically because it can't grow outward fast enough, and with every new floor added to an insula, the risk gets worse. The higher you live, the cheaper the rent. Also, the more likely you are to die if the building collapses or catches fire. You pass a fountain. It's built into the wall, plain stone, water pouring from a lion's mouth. A few people are filling jugs. There's no line. You just wait. The water is clean, cold, pulled from the mountains by aqueducts that stretch for miles outside the city. This fountain is one of hundreds, maybe thousands. The city runs on water and the water never stops. You're moving toward the Forum now and the crowd thickens. It's not just residents anymore. It's people from outside the city, traders, soldiers back from the provinces, tourists from the Eastern Empire who speak Greek and look around like they're not impressed. Rome is the capital of the world, but to someone from Alexandria or Antioch, it probably feels chaotic, less elegant, more functional. The streets start to narrow again, then open up suddenly as you reach the Forum Romanum. It's mid-morning now. The space is packed. This is the center, politically, commercially, spiritually. Temples on every side. The Senate House. The rostra where speeches get delivered, laws get announced, decrees get read aloud by official criers. You can barely move through the crowd. Lawyers are arguing cases in the open air. Merchants are making deals. Someone's setting up a portable stand to sell something, jewelry, maybe, or engraved gems. A group of men in white togas is gathered near the Basilica Julia, and you can tell from the way people are watching them that something important is happening. A trial, probably, public. Anyone can watch. What hits you is the noise. Dozens of conversations happening at once, all of them loud, all competing to be heard. Latin, Greek, a few other languages you don't recognize. Someone is shouting about grain prices. Someone else is reciting poetry, trying to get attention. A priest is leading a procession toward one of the temples, and the crowd parts slightly, then closes again immediately. The Forum is supposed to be the dignified heart of Rome. Marble columns, bronze statues of emperors and generals. The arch of Septimius Severus catching the light, and it is all of that. But it's also sweaty and loud and packed with people trying to sell you things or convert you to something or just get past you to wherever they're going. You keep moving. You have to. If you stop, you're in the way. You cut through a side street and end up near the base of the Palatine Hill. This is where the emperors live. You can't see the palaces from here, but you know they're up there, sprawling complexes with gardens and fountains and rooms most Romans will never see. The hill is a reminder, always visible from almost anywhere in the city. It doesn't loom, it's just there, constant. At the base of the hill there's a marketplace, smaller than the Forum, more practical. People are buying vegetables, onions, cabbage, lentils. A man is selling live chickens in wicker cages. Another has fish laid out on a table, covered with cloth to keep the sun off. It's not refrigerated. It won't last past today. If it doesn't sell, it gets thrown out, or sold cheaper at night to whoever's desperate enough. You notice how everyone handles money. Coins, bronze, silver, occasionally gold. They clink when they hit the stone counters. The vendors weigh them sometimes, checking if they've been shaved or clipped. Trust is cheap. Verification is mandatory. You pay, you get your goods, you move on. The exchange is fast because it has to be. There are 30 people behind you waiting their turn. Further down, there's a papina, a food stall built into the wall of a building. The counter has round holes cut into it, each one holding a clay pot of food. Stew, porridge, lentils, something with chickpeas. A few people are eating standing up. One guy is arguing about the price of sausage. The owner isn't budging. This happens 10 times a day probably. It's routine. You grab bread from a basket on the counter. It's still warm. You pay a tiny coin, barely worth counting, and keep walking, tearing off pieces as you go. Nobody sits down to eat unless they're rich or it's a festival. You eat while moving because that's how the city works. Movement is constant. You're walking south now toward the river. The streets get narrower again. The buildings lean in. You pass an insula that's clearly been patched and rebuilt multiple times, different colored bricks, wooden supports added later, shutters that don't quite match. It's fine. It's standing. That's all that matters. A group of men walks past carrying something on a litter. A wealthy person hidden behind curtains being transported because walking through these streets is beneath them, or because it's genuinely dangerous. Rich people get robbed. It happens. There are no street lights. After dark, you carry a torch if you're smart, or you pay someone to escort you. The vigils patrol at night. They're firefighters but also enforcers, but they can't be everywhere. You hear a grinding sound and follow it. There's a pistrina, a bakery with its own mill. The grinding stones are huge, taller than you, turned by a donkey walking in circles. The donkey is blindfolded. It's been doing this for hours, maybe all day. The sound is rhythmic, hypnotic, loud enough that the workers inside have to shout to communicate. Flour dust hangs in the air like fog. You can taste it. The ovens are in the back and the heat spills out into the street even from here. Bakers work in shifts. Some started at midnight so the bread would be ready by dawn. Others will work until evening. The city eats bread like it breathes air constantly without thinking about it until the supply stops. Then everyone thinks about it. You're near the Tiber now. You can smell it before you see it, earthy, organic, not quite rotten but close. The river is wide, brownish-green, full of boats. Barges mostly, flat, heavy, unloading grain or oil or wine. The docks are chaotic. Men shouting, ropes being thrown, wooden cranes lifting amphorae out of cargo holds. There's a bridge ahead, the Pons Aemilius maybe, or the Pons Fabricius. Stone, solid, old. People are crossing in both directions. A cart is stuck halfway across because someone tried to pass and now no one can move. The driver is yelling. The other driver is yelling back. No one's apologizing. Eventually someone backs up and the flow resumes. On the far side of the river, the buildings are different. The Trastevere neighborhood, more immigrants here, different languages, different food. A synagogue, a temple to Isis. Rome is cosmopolitan not because it's tolerant, but because it's too big to be anything else. You can't control what 1 million people believe, so you let them believe it as long as they pay taxes and don't riot. You cross back over. The sun is higher now. It's hot. There's no shade unless you press against the buildings, and even then it's barely cooler. People are sweating. You're sweating. The smell of the crowd is thick, not unbearable, just human. 1 million people packed into tight streets in the Mediterranean heat. This is normal. You're moving east now toward the Colosseum. You can see it from a distance, massive, unmistakable. It's not a race day, so the streets around it are relatively calm. Relatively. There are still vendors selling trinkets, food, souvenirs. Street performers doing tricks for coins. A guy with a monkey on a chain. Another selling lucky charms blessed by some god you've never heard of. The Colosseum itself is quiet. The arches are open. You could walk inside if you wanted, but there's nothing to see today. Just empty sand and the faint smell of animals. On game days, this place holds 50,000 people. 50,000. All cheering, all pressed together, all watching men fight animals or each other or sometimes both. The emperors give free admission. It's policy. Bread and circuses. Keep people entertained, keep them fed, and they won't ask too many questions about how the empire actually works. You keep walking. Past the Ludus Magnus, the gladiator school, connected to the Colosseum by an underground tunnel. Past the Meta Sudan's fountain where people are washing their hands and faces. Past another insula, another bakery, another papina. The city repeats itself. The same structures, the same rhythms over and over in every neighborhood. What surprises me is how ordinary it all feels. You expect ancient Rome to feel grand, monumental, historical. And parts of it are. The Forum is impressive. The aqueducts are engineering marvels. The temples are beautiful. But most of Rome is just people living, buying bread, carrying water, arguing about rent, trying to get through the day. It's not a museum, it's a city. A living, loud, crowded, functional city that happens to be the center of an empire. You're back in the Subura now. Late afternoon. The crowds are even thicker. People getting off work, heading to the baths, stopping at markets. The streets are so packed you're moving at a shuffle. Someone steps on your foot. You bump into someone's shoulder. No one apologizes. It's not rude, it's just density. You pass a small shrine built into the wall, a niche with a statue of some household god, a few flowers left as offerings. People touch it as they walk by. Not everyone, but enough. It's reflex, tradition, insurance. The gods are everywhere in Rome, small and large, public and private. You honor them because not honoring them seems risky. A cart is trying to come through, illegally. Again, everyone presses against the walls. The driver is cursing. The donkey looks exhausted. The wheels scrape against the stone. It barely fits. One of the amphorae in the cart looks like it might fall. It doesn't. The cart passes. The street refills with people immediately. You think about the fact that this happens every day. That 1,000,000 people wake up and navigate this chaos, and somehow it works. Somehow bread gets baked. Water gets delivered, goods get sold, fires get put out, crimes get punished, entertainment gets staged, and the whole system resets and does it again tomorrow. There's no master plan. No central authority directing foot traffic or managing crowd flow. It's emergent, organic. 1,000,000 people figuring out how to coexist in a space that's too small for all of them and doing it anyway because there's no alternative. It's evening now. The sun is lower. The heat is fading. The streets are still full. They'll stay full until late into the night because the carts are coming. The law says they can't enter the city during the day, so they wait outside the walls until sunset, then roll in by the hundreds. All night long you'll hear them, wooden wheels on stone, the sound of goods being delivered to every corner of the city. If you live on the 5th floor of an insula, you won't sleep much. The noise is constant, but you're used to it. Everyone's used to it. This is what Rome sounds like. You head toward a public bath, one of the smaller ones, not the massive imperial complexes. You pay a quadrans, barely anything, and step inside. It's crowded, but there's space to move. The cold room, the warm room, the hot room, steam rising, people talking. The sound echoes off the stone walls. You sit in the warm pool and let the noise fade into the background. For the first time all day, you're not moving, you're just here. And you think about the fact that this moment, this bath, this water is only possible because an aqueduct 30 miles away is still flowing. Because someone maintains it, because the system works. And you wonder, how long can something like this keep going? Rome does know. Rome just keeps moving, keeps shouting, keeps shoving through narrow streets and buying bread and throwing water from windows and building higher and packing tighter and assuming tomorrow will look like today. And for now, it does.